Hiya, it's Rhiannon, and I decided to do another video. I did this because the last video had an overwhelming response, and honestly I never expected anything like that. Everyone was so sweet, and then I got subscribers, and it was amazing. So I decided to therefore post this video of my coursework to help people who are going through it, trying to finish it. I'm not sure when the deadline date is, if it's even come yet or not, but you can also use, I guess, some ideas in your actual exam sketchbook. For those who don't know, GCSE is the English exam for art, and our school did sketchbooks for it. I hope this video will help to an extent, and it'll also kind of illustrate how I improved over time. I'm going to start off with Identity, which is my favourite, but was actually my second sketchbook. My first sketchbook was Contained Spaces, then it was Identity, then I did Street Art, I got to choose because that was my mock, and then from there I chose to do Human Figure, but that was my exam. So here's my collage for Identity, and I have some fake rose petals. I used to always love to dry out rose petals and stick them in, and I did a little collage on the first page, and this is my mind map quote. It's just a lot of different things I like, because I honestly had no idea what to do for Identity, so I did little tags of places I've been, things I liked, and yeah, don't judge it too hard. A lot of the things were all a bit folded over and all, but yeah, I really enjoyed making that. Then, this is year 10 me, and now I'm in year 12, so it's quite funny to look at. I did a little collage with words from newspapers, which was horrific to do. It took me so long. Then I cut out a picture of myself and stuck it on. You see, I have this kind of obsession with mind maps, because the more you put down your ideas, the more the examiners like it. So I just kind of thought, you can never do too many, and you'll see why eventually. Our first artist was Wayne Theobald for Identity, and I did a little version of his ice cream sundae with oil pastels. I was really proud of that, I remember. So for Identity, we had all kind of done the same-ish artists, then we all went our different ways. So we all did Wayne Theobald and Andy Warhol, but later on I do artists that were a bit different and everyone else differed. So for my artist research, just on the left, then in the middle there's a drawing of a shoe I did. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not exactly sure why I did it. I tried to include the waves from the very first and the roses from the brain. In the background's my birthday, which is the 26th of August. And then I did a version of Andy Warhol's art with a bamboo stick. It's my first time using one, and I actually really enjoyed it. Here I was trying to experiment with mark making with personal objects to me. I did that because obviously it's Identity, and it's an easy way to get some still life. So at first I did it with biro, then we got some black kind of already mixed paint, really cheap, really easy, loads of random media or bits to use. See, my layout wasn't the most practical, but we just went with it and we did a version of it. So I was really happy with mine. I drew it out in pencil first, and then the smaller shell I did first, and I really disliked because it wasn't the way I wanted to do it. I just kind of mixed all the stuff together. Then the other ones, I did all the shading first, then all the highlight, and I did it really precise. It took forever, and my art teacher was telling me to stop being such a perfectionist, but luckily I finished it eventually, even though it took me forever, and I'm really happy with it. I also did close-up annotations on that, and I thought it was quite good that I did that, because it showed exactly what I'd used for each bit. I then do 2 one-line drawings on the left, because they're super quick and you can honestly get loads of marks with them. Then I did an Andy Warhol inspired one-line drawing of my personal objects, because I thought that would be a really good way to link all of the last few pages. The personal objects I continued with, I cut out some stencils of them, then outlined them in oil pastel and normal pencil. I cut out a little plastic wallet and like sellotaped it up so they'd stay. I don't know, I just wanted to include them. This, I didn't really know what to do, so that was me just kind of a bit bored, and yeah. I wanted to go a bit more into flowers because my final piece includes a lot of flowers and I never really explained it, so after I'd made my final piece I added in these pages. That's why it looks a bit kind of roughly added in. I tried out different flowers with different media, and yeah. Now this artist is Manny Robertson. This was my first one I did alone. I was very lucky because I had found his Tumblr in which he answered all these questions. For an artist study, you should look at kind of the work, their most famous work, a biography, their inspirations, their techniques, your opinion, and how it links to identity or the subject you're doing, and that kind of formula works well in everyone. So I did it again with Wes Neiman. I think that's how you say his name. So I did who he was, his biography, I did his techniques, his inspiration, the origins of his ideas further, and then my opinion. The tape I was just trying to show, I hadn't intended to do that, I just intended to glue it, but I was really happy with the result. So this was my interpretation of Manny Robertson. I did a photo shoot with my dad and I tried to sew up the pictures. I used a really thick picture, and I'd recommend, if anyone does this artist, that you should use kind of just print out if you sew, because it's so hard to sew through that much paper and things. I then just did a pencil kind of version of it. Never really finished it, but I just said I liked the negative space, so it was finished. This picture, I did that picture too, which was very painful to take, and I drew it, and that picture was put up in front of the class when I'd done it, so it was really embarrassing. We also did different media because our course was art and design, not just fine art. So I did a clay face, but you will never really see me do much clay because I didn't really enjoy it. I like to use ink most, but yeah. So then I went back to the sketchbook after we finished it, and I decided to add in loads of different stuff on the human body. Before human figure was my exam sketchbook, I didn't realise. So I did hands for 2 pages, and I looked at kind of like guidelines of it. I took some pictures of my friend Laura, and my sketchbook's coming apart, and I drew them, and I annotated them. Also, please ignore the plasters on my finger. I cut it open. I then did legs, and I took pictures of my sister on the right. The lips aren't of my sister, but yeah. Then I did why I chose my final piece, and this sketchbook's not finished. That's something I really wanted to say. You don't have to always finish your sketchbooks. This really wasn't finished at all. I put together a few little bits in the last final days, but honestly, it just matters about the amount of work you do. Here, it shows my art teacher used to kind of stick in sticky notes of how we could improve, and on my back pages I always did a lot of messy work to kind of if I needed to plan something or whatever, I'd do that. But to be honest, it's not about the way your sketchbook looks, even though I focused on that a lot. It's about having a bit of fun. And here's my final piece. In the end, I sewed it up like Manny Robertson. I added flowers, but I also added a drawn version of my face from multiple media. This is my mock sketchbook. So this was the 3rd sketchbook I did, and it's a bit of a jumbled order. So I did urban art. We got a choice of a lot. I was going to do alternative fashion, but a lot of people were doing that, and I wanted to be different. No, I just did it because I thought it looked a bit, I don't know, I never really did sculptures, so I wanted to try it out. I would never recommend doing newspaper as a background. It takes forever, honestly, and lots of the time can look a bit manky, so if you try not to do that and not make the mistake I did. I then did a collage, because this was me just kind of trying to figure out urban art. I did some annotations on the collage, which I'd always recommend to do. It's really good to annotate a collage. Then I did some bubble background. This is the most fun background to do. You add fairy liquid, paint and water in a certain ratio. I can't really remember it. Then you literally get a straw and you blow bubbles onto the page. There's like a BuzzFeed video on it and it's so fun. That's just me kind of annotating my ideas. Here's my first artist, Ronzo. So for our mock we had to pick all our artists and everything ourselves, and I did a little watercolour of the bird. Ronzo's a really cool artist, like he does YouTube videos and he's just a really cool guy. Yeah, a few of you mentioned I laughed a lot in my last video. It's because I get a bit nervous because I'm not really I don't know. But yeah, got a bit stuck there. There we are. So I did some little sketches of robots because I felt like Ronzo did kind of like animals, robots, little monsters and things. So I did some in pencil, some in charcoal. I didn't have any kind of like charcoal, is it setter? I don't know. That's why I went on the other page. Then I did Joanne Miro. I think I pronounced that wrong. Anyway, yeah, so I did him, and it was really cool because the summer after my GCSEs we went to Spain and I actually saw some of his work. I did a little clay sculpture of one of his little statues and I really liked it. Unfortunately, my one's neck, if you can kind of see in the drawing, was a bit broken, but he was a cute little guy and it was really fun to do. I also did some drawings of it and I'm actually really proud of those drawings. I think they're my favourite bit in the sketchbook. So here I also did a third artist called Gregos. I did a kind of like theme of trying to make something inspired by them and doing drawings of that, or I don't know, I did like a theme of doing like either a secondary source of them or making a primary source based off them and drawing it, and yeah. So this one's primary source because I did it based off of Gregos by finding a mask and doing still life one-line drawings. One-line drawings are amazing, please do them, they're so quick and you get so much work done for them. For my final piece I wanted to do in proportionate bodies and body image and all that, so I did some Photoshop and I was just saying this was my planning, so I did what the kind of ideal ones were, but they're really not ideal because they're a bit creepy. It was really easy to Photoshop them actually, you could do it on any app pretty much, even Facetune. Then I did some drawings for my plan and finally I made a miniature version so I could write out about it, because this was our first timed exam of 10 hours. I wanted to make a mini version so I knew what worked, what didn't, and in the end my little statue was pretty cool. I really liked it and I still have it. But yeah, I just did lots about where I would put it, why I would put it there, size, everything. You just want to annotate everything you can, say what you want to do with your final piece, especially for this one. Now, this sketchbook has the most empty pages. I did this on my phone when I was filming because I wanted to show it's not about just getting a sketchbook full, it's not always about backgrounds and stuff. I know I did a lot of fancy backgrounds. That was because I used like my lunch times in the art room because I was geeky. My back pages were like my messy work, and here my teacher was helping me with my final piece. That honestly, talk to your teachers and everything. Just, yeah. So here's my mini sculpture. Unfortunately, the big sculpture had to go. It was quite sad, but it was just too big and nowhere to put it, and yeah, so we got rid of it unfortunately. But it was huge and I really enjoyed making it. We had to saw a bit in the side when we did it because it like collapsed, so we stuck a paintbrush in it to keep it up. This is my first ever sketchbook, contains faces, and it's really short, this one, because it's a really small sketchbook and I hate it with a passion. See, the front few pages are me going back over, doing experiments, trying to get myself more marks at the very end of the course when I finally understood what the course of art GCSE was. But at the beginning I didn't. I even had to make a new jar because I had done a jar of nature, we'd done loads of drawings on it and I'd lost them all. Like literally, never get rid of a drawing if you think it's bad, just don't. You get so many marks and you don't get marks if it looks bad. You don't lose marks ever because it's positively marked, and yeah. Here is a Marimekko kind of page. It was a research page because Marimekko isn't like a single artist, and here we did printing process. At this point I wasn't very individual with my art, I just kind of followed what I was told to do, and that's okay, that's perfectly okay. You don't need to have this. Your art teacher normally will make like the spec of the year so that it's adapted to the GCSE so you get the most marks possible. And yeah. Here's a Krista and Jean-Claude artist information bit. See, I'm missing the artist information part. I'm missing lots in the sketchbook, and also I'm sorry for the audio quality of this one. I speak into my laptop keyboard to get my microphone, so yeah. My kind of skill, so to say, it improved over time. These 2 pages were from the very beginning of the course, and I was really proud of them at the time. That Zentangles one took me so long. And on the right we have flowers, which I scan into the computer. Because my jar was made up of nature and flowers, I decided I wanted to base my final piece off of flowers, so we looked into I can't see his name. Anyway, we looked into this artist to because he did boxes, which were really interesting. So I did a painting of a box, and I also did a drawing of a box, and I made a box. Unfortunately, I don't have that box anymore. I should have really made this before some of the stuff went and everything. That box I can't find anywhere. I did look around my room for it, but yeah. Then we looked at Michael Craig Martin, who was kind of pop arty with lots of different objects and contained spaces because it was lots of different objects. See, a lot of people in the comments from the last video were saying their subject was really hard to find things for, etc, etc. You can find things for anything, honestly. Contained spaces, we just did loads of objects in boxes. And yeah, so I did some photography of objects in boxes because I'm lucky, my dad's a photographer, I can do lots of photography, and you get so many marks for it. On the right then was some Photoshop of the flowers I'd drawn earlier, and here were some more flowers I'd edited. I didn't include any planning for my final piece in this one. The flower edits, the finishing of the Photoshop, a lot of the stuff I had to do at the end of the course. And this sketchbook's a lot smaller than the rest because I'd ripped out lots of stuff thinking it didn't look good enough, but that doesn't really matter. Here's my here's my final piece. It isn't the best. Like, I did the flowers and I was really happy with that, but yeah. Here are some extra bits. I wanted to show these bits before the end of the video because basically my art teacher used to make us do lots of little bits. That first one was a Roy Lichtenstein in Parts 5 piece, and that was the first piece of art I properly did in my course. Basically, just on an end note, I just wanted to make this video to try and help people with the art GCSE who may be struggling, who are a bit worried, because this video isn't meant to tell you, oh, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. This video is trying to kind of chill you out, show you I didn't finish everything, I didn't annotate everything, I wasn't the best. It was all just a bit of fun, and that's what the GCSE should be. I know this video was a lot longer than my last one, like more than double the time. And I had my bad audio in my hand. But I hope it's helped to a certain extent. And yeah, thank you all so much for like all of the views. That's insane. 150,000 people watched my video, and like I think 800 of you nearly commented. That was unbelievable. And then I got loads of subscribers. It just thank you so much, and I hope this video's been helpful.